It's few hours to the PDP presidential primaries, and we have our eyes on the election as the nation anticipates who gets the ticket of the main opposition party in Nigeria. We'll take you live to the venue shortly. And former Anambra State Governor and frontline presidential aspirant Mr. Peter Obi, who dumped the PDP a few days ago, has now joined the Labour Party. We'll be speaking with him right here live on the program. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbalo here. So much to talk about, so let's get to it right away everyone. Let's begin from the Federal High Court sitting in Yanagua. Today we ruled that former President Goodluck Jonathan is eligible to contest the 2023 presidential election. The presiding judge, Justice Isa Hamadashen, gave the judgment saying that Jonathan's right to vie for the office of president again cannot be stopped by any retroactive law. Yesterday, former President Goodluck Jonathan criticized the National Assembly over some of the provisions in the 2022 Electoral Act. The former president believes the laws made by the current assembly appear to target individuals and not for the good of the country. He has asked that Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act be expunged.
By virtue of Section 137, subsection 1B, President Jonathan, having taken the oath of office to the office of the president on 2 occasions, is disqualified from contesting. Secondly, he also contended that by virtue of Section 137, subsection 3, which was brought into the Constitution by the 4th alteration to the Constitution in the year 2018, Jonathan, having completed the term of late President Yaradua and having served 1 term, is no longer qualified to contest.
All right then. So much to talk about, like I said earlier on the program. So stay with me, everyone, because we're bringing to you some of the biggest stories in the land. But first and foremost, here are some of your political roundup stories. All right, we'll get there in a moment. I understand that we'll be getting to you just in about a few minutes. Let's show you that what is happening across several states of the Federation, where we now understand that winners and losers have emerged from the different political parties as far as the governorship primaries are concerned. Let me quickly show you the faces of some of those who have emerged as winners. Let's begin with the APC tonight. I begin with Zamfara State, where the incumbent governor, Bello Matawalle, has emerged winner with 733 votes. And in Nasarawa State, the incumbent governor, Abdullahi Sule, is the winner and is the candidate of the APC for the 2023 governorship election in the state of Bauchi, where Abubakar Hishetu Benami has emerged as the winner of the governorship election in the state primaries in the state. In Lagos State, the incumbent Babajide Sanwo-Olu has emerged again to get a re-election ticket of his party, while Dapo Abiodun in Ogun State is the winner in of the primaries, which beats some of the other aspirants who ran in the race against him, imagine with 1,168 votes. In Ebonyi, there is a winner for the primaries, which, well, the person who will be succeeding, Governor Dave Umahi, has since been announced and returned Francis Nwifuru. And off to Abia State, where Ikechi Emenike has been declared winner. In Gombe State, Governor Unuwa Yaya has been declared the winner. And also in Yobe State, another incumbent governor, Mema Labuni, and in Borno State is incumbent Babagana Zulum as a match winner. Let's look at what is happening in the People's Democratic Party, PDP. In Kwara State is Abdullahi Yaman, who has emerged as the flag bearer of the People's Democratic Party in Kwara State. And in Taraba State is Agbu Kevas. And in Adamawa State, the incumbent governor, Hamadu Fintiri, is the flag bearer, will be the flag bearer of the party in Adamawa State. And in Kaduna State, Mr. Ashiru Muhammad is the flag bearer of the PDP in Kaduna State. All right, now let's check out some of your political roundup stars.
A federal high court in Abuja today refused to admit a former Imo State Governor, Rochas Okorocha, to bail pending the determination of a suit he instituted against the federal government. Justice Inyang Ekwo declined a request by the former governor to compel the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to release him on bail. In a brief ruling on the bail application filed by Okorocha, Justice Ekwo said he was not inclined to admit the applicant to bail. Rather, the judge ordered Okorocha to put the federal government on notice to come and defend his detention. The former governor had filed an ex parte application in which he predicated his bail request on the ground that he was a presidential aspirant. He informed the court that he was vying for the presidential ticket of the ruling All Progressives Congress, and his political ambition would be jeopardized unless he was granted bail. On Tuesday, a team of EFCC operatives stormed the residence of the former governor in the Maitama area of the Federal Capital Territory and arrested him. The minority leader of the Senate and governorship aspirant of the PDP in Abia State, Senator Einaya Baribe, has dumped the PDP for APGA and equally resigned his position as the minority leader. Senator Baribe made his decision known in a letter to the chairman of the PDP in his ward, Ward 5, Obingwa local government area of Abia State. In the letter dated May 24, 2022, the senator wrote this: "This development is consequent upon the shameful display of illegality, impunity, and undemocratic decision of the party, and after due consultations with my constituents." He told Channels Television that he would be vying for the Abia South senatorial seat under the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA. The Supreme Court has upheld the judgment of the Court of Appeal granted in favor of the Dan Nwafo leadership of the Imo State chapter of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in a unanimous judgment read by Justice Adamu Joru. The Apex Court dismissed the appeal filed by the All Progressives Congress for lacking in merit. Dan Nwafo had prayed the Apex Court to dismiss the appeal filed by the All Progressives Congress and to allow the judgment of the Court of Appeal delivered in his favor. The legal battle for the soul of the APC in Imo State started in 2018 when the party conducted Ward and Local Government Congress to select leadership for the party. The Dan Nwafo leadership, however, maintained that its 4-year tenure remained valid and will expire in 2022.
I think the party, APC, should go back and if they still have time, do the proper thing by recognizing all the local government delegates and ward delegates and state delegates that are products of the Daniel Nwafo structure all the way from the state level to the ward level. Otherwise, all candidates that have purportedly emerged for be-day House of Assembly or even the ongoing state, federal House and Senate primaries that are going on today in Imo State are all exercises in futility. But as of today, this is the state chairman of the party, Mr. Daniel Nwafo. I'm glad to announce to the world with his executives and all the delegates whose names from his faction, whose names are before the INEC and the party, are the authentic delegates.
Let me just get you straight into our conversation tonight with my very first guest on the program. Well, it came to some people as a surprise, and to some others as some, news of necessity of what, like a response of what was happening in the People's Democratic Party. The dumping of the PDP by the former governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi, was a news that a lot of people were talking about. And today, since declared that he has moved to the Labour Party. Tonight, I'm being joined by the former governor of Anambra State and the frontline presidential aspirant, Mr. Peter Obi. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Segun, for having me.
It was a shocker to a lot of your supporters. We thought, you might say this true. What was the real reason behind your leaving the PDP?
Well, let me correct the first impression. You said it's about dumping them. I didn't dump any party. It's the PDP party is like an association. You have freedom of association. You have freedom to go in, freedom to go out. It's a relationship thing. And when you go into a relationship thing, an association, you go in there for a reason. And if you feel that maybe the activities that you go on is at variance with your own person and your principles, the only thing you can do is to quietly and decently leave the place. And that's what I did. You could see my write-up to the chairman of the party. There was no tone there that shows any quarrel or anything. I thank them for the opportunity of being their member, opportunity of associating myself there and said, going on, I found out that I can no longer continue because of some activities I believe that are at variance with my person and my principles.
What kind of
and
things are that?
Well, it's not personal to me.
Okay.
Quite frankly, there's nothing. It's just like I always tell people, the process through which you get into arrive at any destination, especially when it comes to seeking a public office, is as fundamental as what you do thereafter. So for me, I want to be able to follow a process that I believe in. Some people will tell you, do anything, when you get there, you can correct it. No, I don't believe in that. The process must be same as what I do thereafter. As a politician, I have campaigned, I've gone around the country, I've done what I'm supposed to do, presented myself to the people, and if I find out there's other things I might not be able to be part of, I decently withdrew myself. There was no issue.
You know the reason why I'm asking this question? I mean, one is curious that just about the time you left, Senator Abaribe has left also.
Well, everybody has his own reason for leaving.
You think things are going wrong in the PDP?
No, I don't think so. Everybody, like I said, it's association. Now people are living, they're living everywhere, you know. It's an association. You have right to go in, you have right to go out. There's nothing wrong there.
Does it call to question from what your friend said yesterday, Governor Nyesom Wike said about, I mean, you leaving the party and coming back, you've gone around the country, and now, on what platform will you now say you want to, you've gone on the platform of the PDP to campaign, to go around and consult the delegates of the PDP. Does that call to question your own loyalty as a party person?
I don't understand. Can you be clear on what he said? He said
Governor Nyesom Wike called your loyalty to question to the PDP.
What I don't know what I loyalty to question. I came into a system, and I was part of that system. I stayed there throughout the years I was in PDP. Nobody can question my loyalty to the party. I participated in everything, and when I'm going out, I didn't go out in a cross situation. I did it so decently because I have right to do so.
Did you probably think that you may not get the ticket of the party?
Not at all, not at all, not at all. I'm not desperate to be president. Not am I desperate to be anything. I'm desperate to see Nigeria work, especially for the youths of this country.
You don't think that PDP is the right vehicle for you to achieve that?
No. It's like I said, I've left. I've moved on, to where I think the process might allow me. It's not about, I keep saying, it's not about winning or losing. I would rather lose doing the right thing than win doing the wrong thing. My politics have been consistent in character and integrity throughout the time I started. And you can go and check. This is not the first time I left PDP, if you don't know. In 2002, when I started this politics, I was a member of PDP. Go and read what Olisametu wrote. I went to one meeting, and I wanted to contribute, and people said, no, you can't contribute. No, I quietly left them. I went to APGA, because I said, if I'm in a system where freedom of contribution is not allowed, I went to APGA, campaigned, won the election, somebody else was declared. I didn't quarrel. I went to court. I became the first Nigerian to ever stay in court for 3 years until court declared me the winner. I didn't quarrel. Same thing is what you see in that consistency I'm saying. When I became governor, 6 months after, I was impeached. I didn't quarrel with those who impeached me. I went to court. Eventually, the court brought me back. I became the first Nigerian to come back from impeachment as a governor. Of course, less than 1 year after that, election was conducted when my tenure was just about 1 year. INEC conducted the election, declared somebody as winner, he became governor. I didn't quarrel. I went to court again. And all through to Supreme Court, I won. That is why you have staggered election in Nigeria today. It was because of me. I became the first person to set that example.
This very move that you've made, how painful is it for you?
It's not painful.
Because you've gone around as a flag, I mean, seeking the flag of the PDP. Now you have to abandon that. It's like a project that you've seen to almost 95%,
No,
and you abandoned and you left.
There's nothing painful in my life. My late mother taught me never, always be glad for an experience. No matter what it costs you.
So what informed the choice of Labour Party?
Well, if you look at what I've been saying, you mentioned something. Can I go back to the question you asked earlier about
Please go ahead.
comments of Governor Wike yesterday? There's something he talked about. When he was talking, the one I think he mentioned was when he talked about issue of integrity. He said that even my going questions my integrity. I don't know how that word came in, but I think when we talk about integrity, we should talk about the integrity in management of public resources. That is what we should be talking about in this country. And when such things are mentioned about me, I feel maybe there's something missing somehow. So you go and check my record as the governor. I was impeached for 3 reasons. 1, my office had a approved budget to be renovated for 298 million naira. I renovated everything with 43,200,000. My lodge, to repair and renovate the lodge where the governor lives, which is me, was 486 million naira. I did everything with 81 million naira. Number 3 item was that I was saving money without the authority of the house. From day one, I said we must save money. And that went through. For 8 years I was governor. Go ask any contractor, whether any contractor was sat with me to talk about what is I'm entitled to, inflated any contract, any supplier, anybody. And when I left office, his record, I left $75 billion, $500 million at that time, because it's public money. I was managing public trust, and I did so.
That's for you, integrity.
For me, that is, when you talk about integrity, it questions your management of public trust and resources. Go to Anambra State today. I have no land given to me by Anambra State government. My managing director of my housing authority, Mike Nwafo, is still alive. He gave me land and 2 houses. And I told him, I'm not entitled to it. I'm the manager of this. So, for me, nobody have ever seen me in my political life sharing money anywhere. I'm not saying I'm a saint, but I did things which I believe it was right. You asked me a question. Second question which you asked.
Yeah. And then I was asking you that, because that matter touched on the issue of your integrity and perhaps the allegation of a lack of character, and that you immediately left and I've
just shown you the issue of, I've just described the issue of character, how I came to where I was, and I've shown you the answer to the issue of integrity, and then...
Your choice of Labour Party.
Well, let me also correct one thing that I read in social media, that I immediately visited Kwankwaso.
NNPP.
NNPP. Never had such visit.
That was not a choice for you at the time?
No, it wasn't even a choice.
Why was the speculation coming that you might be joining NNPP?
I don't know. Here the people who live on speculation. I never visited anybody. I didn't even leave. I just said, I wrote a letter and submitted it quietly. Why choice of Labour? If you had followed my mantra since I started this, I've always said, Shehu, the greatest tragedy of our country today is consumption and not production. It is sharing and not creating. I said I want to move the country from consumption to production. A country of 200 million people with a land size of 923,000 square kilometers cannot produce or feed itself, no export. So our total export is less than $30 billion.
How do you hope to change that narrative?
For 200 million people. Less than 30, that is including oil. Oil is about 80% of our foreign exchange earning. And so you can calculate how much that it is when you include that. So you're talking about, there's no way that can happen. There's no way that can sustain the country. It is not possible. Countries that are smaller in land size, in population, like I've always mentioned, like Vietnam, 100 million, 331,000 square kilometers of land, total export last year, $312 billion. 97% are manufactured goods. There's no production here. It must change.
I'm going to ask you how you hope to change that, because at this point in time, millions of Nigerians are listening to those who want to get into the #1 city in the country, and the solution are the issues. But we'll take a breather. But before we get to that, I told you earlier that the PDP will be going into the MKO Abiola Stadium from tomorrow to elect their flag bearer, and we are live on the grounds there. My colleague Kayode Okikiolu is on the ground to give us an update. Kayode, can you give us an update on what is happening? How far is the preparation of Nigeria's main opposition party?
Sean, we are live, as you said, at the velodrome of the MKO Abiola National Stadium here in the nation's capital, Abuja, the venue of the 2022 Special National Convention of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, the purpose of which is, of course, elect their presidential candidate for the 2023 general election. The truth is, this arena that I'm standing right on is not new to competition. In fact, it was built for competition. Just right across me, about 300 meters, is the main bowl of the National Stadium, 60,000 capacity. But the venue for this convention is a much smaller velodrome, which is right here behind me. And I'm standing on the red carpet that the delegates and other party officials will walk in through. I am literally launching that red carpet. As you can see behind me, this venue is still under construction. You can see PDP National. They're still waiting to put up the letters that will make up the convention any moment from now. We have gone inside, and I can tell you that the boxes which will be used for the elections are being set up. The sound, the audio visuals, and all of that are being set up. In fact, going round, if you see the seats, you have cards that have numbers on them to tell which delegate will sit on what seat. And speaking of delegates, earlier on, we spoke to the National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Debo Ologunagba, who told us that they're expecting 773 delegates. I was curious as to why not 774, since, we have 774 local governments, and it's expected that there should be one delegate per local government. But he said that they're being careful of the provisions of the law and legal issues, so they're keeping it safe. But he says the number might still rise depending on how things swing. But essentially, the preparations are in full swing, as they say. I can tell you there's so much happening right here, the venue of the PDP's Special National Convention. It's so important that earlier on, I asked Mr. Debo Ologunagba about that meeting that INEC had with political parties, where the conversation around possibly postponing the deadline, that's the June 3rd deadline for the submission, or at least for the completion of the primaries, was raised, and INEC said, well, it's being considered. And he said that, well, they don't have anything to that effect just yet, and when they do, then they will know what kind of action to take next. But I can tell you for sure, activities are underway, and it's like kickoff time is still tomorrow for the PDP's Special National Convention. Sean.
Thank you so much, Kaude, for that update there. Of course, our eyes are on the ground. We'll be live from tomorrow to cover every tiny details that you need to know as far as the PDP presidential primaries is concerned. Thank you so much, Kaude. Let's take a breather on the program, and when we come back, Mr. Peter Obi will still with us on the state of the race and his ambition in this presidential 2023 presidential election. Plus, we'll also take a look at some of the supporters of the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, and what they are doing to push his ambition. Interesting things are happening in this race. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. So much, everyone, for staying with us. Mr. Peter Obi, presidential aspirant who moved now to the Labour Party, has been talking to us. Thank you so much, Mr. Obi, for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you were talking about, a lot of Nigerians, including myself, were interested in solutions. And I'm very certain that Nigerians are looking for the person who has the answers to the very many questions on the lips of a lot of Nigerians. So you're talking about export and our capacity as a Nigerian to generate revenue. Now, the question is, what would you do differently to turn around this very challenge of our country?
So when you see me go around the country talking about trade, it's clear developmental parameters or yardsticks to measure development. If you go through number one, which are there for everybody to see, is issue of human development index. So first is you talk about issue of health, you talk about issue of education, you talk about the issue of per capita. All these issues are issues you need to invest adequately in. And then especially the last one, you can only increase people's per capita by tackling the economy. And when you can't talk about tackling the economy without talking about trade, it is trade that is the main, call it engine or wheel of economy. And countries after countries' growth are measured, wealth measured by the trade of that nation. So that's the critical area where you need to invest. Sharon, I'm a trader. I've created wealth. I started as a micro, small, medium business. So I know what you can do in order to create wealth. Today we have massive insecurity, massive, problems all over the place. Which solution can be linked to the economy? If you invest in the economy of this country and put millions of people that you have thrown into poverty out of poverty, shall you reduce criminality? That has been done everywhere in the world. And we have talented young people, energetic, that we have not invested in. If you invest properly in them, give them access to capital, access to proper education and everything, it will be different.
So if Nigerians give you a chance now, today, with security situation in the country, economic situation and all of that, say in 100 days or less, what should they expect from you differently from what we see today in Nigeria? As a leader, how drastic or how radical would you handle things?
Well, Shehu, don't talk about 100 days. This problem cannot be solved in 100 days. Anybody who is promising 100 days...
But Nigerians want solution. They want action.
No, it is not possible. You can't do it overnight. You just have to, from day one, show a clear destination that is visible, measurable, people can believe in. I've done it in the state.
And that's what they should expect from a Peter Obi presidency.
Period. You do it systematically. And you can measure it. You know, if you say, I'm going to tackle issues, we're going to invest in health, primary health care, how many schools of nurses we have? We have 774 local governments. How many do we have today? We have less than about 400 schools in this sector. Can we increase it? What are we producing? The world is shortage of nurses and midwives. Can we help? Even in Nigeria, the number we have is far less than the required. So what are we doing? You can move into education. Today, show our tertiary school enrollment is 9%. The global average is 38%. In developed world, is 50%. So look at it. We are not even achieving a quarter of the global average. And worse, they're shut down for months now. You can't do that.
Let me, you've said all of this, but the question is whether or not you are hoping to get a ticket of the Labour Party. That's the plan, isn't it?
No. Sheikh, I've told you. My position in this whole exercise is not enshrined in desperation.
But you hope to be the president of Nigeria.
Yes, I hope to get the ticket.
That's one of the reasons why you
I hope
come
to
to
get
Labour
the
Party.
ticket. I hope to get the ticket. I have to campaign the way it should be, and I hope that the people will vote for me because I have an idea of how to turn around this sinking ship.
Mr. Peter Obi, we need to let you go because we have a lot of obligations that we need to meet tonight. Thank you so much, and we hope that at some point, please create time so that we can talk extensively about some of your plans.
Thank you
so
very much.
Mr. Peter Obi, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
We take another breather, and there are lots more on the program that we've lined up for you. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. We're switching gears now. We're talking about some other people in the race tonight. We'll take a look at what is happening in the Yemi Osinbajo campaign. And there is an interesting dimension to the campaign. There is an interest group who independently are rooting and crowdsourcing funds for the vice president and his presidential ambition. I'm being joined tonight by the CEO of Woodford Consulting Company, Ms. Temison Okesanjo. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thanh you, Temi Okesanjo.
Temi Okesanjo, right,
Yes.
Isn't it?
Thank you.
Thank you. So what is this idea? I understand that you put up the concept of the pyopartners.org, where you're basically asking those who support him to donate, isn't it?
Absolutely.
What brought about the idea?
So, you know, we've had this political environment where people literally just get into the political process late. And when I say late, everybody thinks that it's okay to get your PVC, and that's what gives you the power to influence, you know, the narrative as to a better Nigeria. But I think that's all lies, because before the PVC, the electorates basically have the power to, you know, put upon us the person that you get a chance to vote for. So this is an opportunity to tell people that you need to put your money where your mouth is. So if you believe in a candidate and you believe he's got the pedigree, the track record, you should invest in that leader. And again, you know, we're people who love to hold government accountable. And I think that we've tried that a couple of times in the past. I'm not sure that we've adequately been able to, as a citizen, hold government accountable. And this is something that we should look at. If you put your money or if you invest in a leader, and if a leader basically allows you to give your, you know, small donations to him and he gets into power, you can adequately and effectively hold him accountable.
So what you're invariably telling Nigerians is that be responsible for who goes into office, then you can hold them accountable.
Yes.
So you're asking people to come together to send Yemi Osinbajo into the villa as the president of Nigeria, then hold him accountable? Is that what your agenda is?
So there's an overwhelming, clamoring for him to, go forward.
From his supporters?
Yes, and, and we feel like, why don't you seize that opportunity to properly support him? So the way you support a candidate, of course, in Nigeria, is expensive to run for presidency. And of course, even the primary process and everything is obviously so expensive. So we started this about last week, and we have a portal that is byopartners.org. And so when you get in there, you have an opportunity to donate as small as you can. So you can donate as low as 100 naira, 500 naira, 200 naira. But it's essential that Nigerians understand the concept behind it. The ideology of funding a leader in Nigeria is something that we all need to come to terms with, because beyond the fact that you're giving the money, it's also a sense of responsibility. And I'm trying to look at the old get your PVC that we get, they almost becloud us with the fact that if you have a PVC, you've done all that you can to be a part of the political process in terms of a better Nigeria. But the real power is to influence the electorate, the delegates. They're the ones who actually, give us that person that we should vote for. So this is an opportunity to actually be a part of the process before we get the, primary ticket or before somebody's chosen for her. And we have coordinators all across Nigeria in all 36 states.
I see the minimum contribution mark is 100 naira and the maximum is $1 million naira.
So there's orders. If you want to donate more, you can actually click orders and donate more.
So how has people responded to this? How have people responded to this?
So we have coordinators, like I was saying, all over Nigeria. And 4 days ago, we started the exercise. So essentially, the coordinators are supposed to give the flyers. We have a flyer, it's on the website. Give flyers to people, encourage them to sort of fund what they believe in. And it's been extraordinary. We have some videos that we're sharing online soon. And it's strange. And then people would go like, what does he need my money for? And we're like, look, every kobo matters. And we're focusing on the low cadre, the masses. So it's a crowdfunding. It's not necessarily like a fundraising. So we're focused on those people who will feel like they've been able to contribute something. It's not how small the money is. It's the fact that you're investing something, into the better Nigeria that you're expecting or you're waiting for.
It's interesting, and I'm looking at it now. Basically, the hurdle here is the primary.
Absolutely.
So, has this portal been able to contribute to the funding of the run around
not yet.
The consultation?
So we just started, and then we're getting those small donors. It's increasing every day.
I see that you're wearing a hat similar to that of the vice president.
Do you like it?
Well, I can't say if I like it or not. I'm just identifying that that's what you're putting on right now.
Thank you. Yes.
Is that the logo for the
Does
campaign?
Does it look good?
I think I don't know.
I think it looks
I'm not
good.
very good with just such kind of fashion, but well, Nigerians will decide whether it looks good or not. But you said a good man working for ordinary people.
Yeah,
That's
essentially who he is. So I had an opportunity to consult for the OVP, the Office of the Vice President, in 2019 and 2020. And what stood out for me was basically I was a project consultant, so I worked through most of the projects, especially the economy sustainability plan. And what stood out for me really is His Excellency's depth of monitoring projects. The project was supposed to be implemented by the ministers, but it was essentially particular about the beneficiaries and how the process and the speed and who gets what, and to ensure that the beneficiaries who are supposed to benefit are the ones who truly are benefiting from the project. So for me, is about the everyday man. And, he loves projects that basically resonate with the people, the ordinary people. And that's why we're basically focused on the crowdfunding for him.
Mr. Mio Okesanwo, thank you so much for coming tonight. I appreciate it, and I wish you the very best in your push for the passing of Yemi Osinbajo. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thanks for having me.
The breaking news that we have for you tonight is coming from the Independent National Electoral Commission. Stand by, everyone, as we show you what exactly the Independent National Electoral Commission is saying. They say, based on the timetable and schedule of activities for the 2023 general election, the parties have now pleaded with the Commission to use the 6-day period between 4th and 9th June 2022 to conclude outstanding primaries and prepare to upload the list of candidates and their affidavits. The Commission did not schedule any specific activity during this period. The idea is to simply give parties time to compile the list and personal particulars of their nominated candidates. And so it's looking like INEC is yielding to the call of the political parties, not to grant them the 60-day window, but about a week or so window. Details of that you get on the top of the hour right here on Channels Television. And that's how we do the cuttings of the program tonight. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Kimberley. Bye for now.